Hi guys! This video is the first part of our 5th live session on the SoccerNet-v2 challenge. We had the great pleasure to have a presentation given by Kanav Vats on his action spotting method using a multi-tower CNN applied on the original SoccerNet.
Feel free to join us for our last live session on Thursday the 27th of May at 1 p.m. UTC. We will examine the leaderboard just a few days before the end of the challenge. We will give information about the report that you must write to be eligible for prize, and we will have some concluding remarks. This will also be your chance to ask questions or discuss ideas, as we will have most of the time for Q&A. All the links are in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to support us, and enjoy! Kanav is pursuing his PhD in the Vision and Image Processing (VIP) lab at the University of Waterloo, Canada. Previously, he did his integrated Masters of Science in Applied Mathematics from IIT Roorkee in India. His research interest lies in applied computer vision-based sports analytics, where he solves problems such as player tracking, player identification, and event detection from broadcast video, primarily in ice hockey. Today, he will give a talk on his work entitled Event Detection in Coarsely Annotated Sports Videos via Parallel Multi-Receptive Field 1D Convolution. He published it last year at CVsports. He achieved great results on the original SoccerNet action spotting task, as you will see. Kanav, thank you for joining us today. I leave it up to you.
The paper that I presented last year is Event Detection in Coarsely Annotated Sports Videos via Parallel Multi-Receptive Field 1D Convolution. So we did this work at the University of Waterloo in our WIP lab. So basically, the motivation for this work is that frame-by-frame annotations are difficult to obtain, and it's easier to obtain coarse or minute-wise annotations. And the uncertainty in event location is inevitable in coarsely annotated videos. So we propose that multi-temporal receptive field architecture can account for such kind of an uncertainty. So I'll go through basically what the network looks like. So basically, the input to the network is frames from an untrimmed video, where in this figure, T represents the number of time steps in the video, W represents the width, and H represents the height of the frames. So we input it into a CNN, and after that, we have 1D convolutional towers, where each tower has got a different receptive field. These towers are composed of T-con blocks, which I'll discuss later on. So the idea is that these convolutional towers will actually be able to process temporal information at various scales, which will be later on combined and softmaxed to give the event probabilities. So now let's talk about the T-con block. So basically, it's nothing but a 1D convolution followed by a bash nav and then ReLU. And another thing is that after applying 1D convolution, the temporal dimension shrinks. So we have to do temporal slicing in order to make a residual connection. So this is just one important bit. Now I'll talk about the data sets that we used. So the first data set that we used is the NHL data set, which is composed of 10 NHL games of 3 periods, and the videos were at 60 frames per second. We used 9 training games for training and 1 for evaluation. And the events are annotated second-wise, and there are 4 events. Face-off. A face-off is an event where a puck is dropped between sticks of 2 opposing players. A shot is basically a player attempting to shoot the puck. Advance is basically a player is moving the puck in or out of the defensive or offensive zone without an intended recipient. And play is that a player moves the puck with an intended recipient. And the second data set is, we all know, the SoccerNet data set, which we are all aware of. It consists of 500 soccer games with 3 events: goals, substitution, and cards. And the trainings, testing, and validation split is 30, 100, 100, 300, 100, 100. So this is basically what the events of the NHL data set looks like. Since we haven't seen this data set before, so I wanted to explain a little bit more about it. So face-off is basically when the puck is placed between the two players of the opposing team. A shot is basically the shot made into an ice hockey net, and advance is basically a clearing attempt, basically when some player passes the puck without any intended recipient, and a play is a pass or a stick handle. So the tasks we are going to solve is event detection in hockey, that is detect events in untrimmed broadcast hockey video. And the second task that we are solving is event spotting in soccer, which is basically predicting the anchors of soccer events in soccer videos. And we aim to directly spot events without doing any video chunk classification. So let's come on to the first task, that is event detection in hockey. So the input to the algorithm is 30 frames spanning 3 seconds at 10 FPS. And the output is event probabilities for two contiguous events. Now, our data set is heavily imbalanced such that the background is basically majority of the class. So we have to do some intelligent sampling so that the background is only sampled with a 0.2 probability and the rest of the events are sampled with a more probability. If we don't do this, then the training of the algorithm becomes pretty unstable. And there is a post-processing step that we follow. That is, if the network predicts n events in a row where n is greater than 1, so predict the event with the highest confidence. So this is based on the assumption that in ice hockey, events like it's hard for two shots to occur simultaneously, and hence this assumption comes out to be true. Now, the way these multi-temporal receptive field towers work is, the thing is, each of these small circle represents a particular frame. Now, as you can see, the receptive fields of one of the output nodes is different when it comes to both the towers, such that the event and the context around it keeps on changing. So the first tower has a different context around the receptive field of the first node. The second tower has a different one, and the third has a different one. So the idea is that all these three towers can process temporal information at multiple receptive fields. Now I'll come on to the experiment. Now, the accuracy metric is that a predicted event for a predicted event for a 1 second interval is considered correct if it is within 1 second of ground truth, and the precision recall and inference score for each class is calculating according to this. So after this, we do some ablation study and find out that actually our assumption comes out to be true. These towers perform better than single towers, and when these towers have multiple receptive fields, then they perform better than the other ones. But there are failure cases as well. One important failure case in the B part of the figure is that when there is a face-off violation, that is, if a face-off is about to occur but it's called off, it will be wrongly classified again as a face-off, because the network has no chance of knowing that it was a face-off violation. Another one is that when there is a long pass, then often it is being misclassified as advance. Now I'll show a little demo of how this network is working. So basically, it is able to classify no events. It misclassified advance. Now there was a shot, it correctly classified it. So this is how basically we are doing this. It's a little hard to watch this video directly because it's happening pretty fast. Now I'll come on to the second task, that is event spotting in soccer. And the input to this video basically to this model, the same model that we used for hockey, is this time we are using a 15-second window consisting of 30 ResNet 512 dimensional PCA features, and these features are sampled at 2 frames per second. And the inference is carried out using a sliding window, and we use a watershed method to generate segment proposals, and the center time in each segment is used as a spot candidate. And we use a weighted cross entropy loss for training the network. Now, the accuracy metric that we are using is the average MAP between 5 and 60 seconds. So our network, so when this network was published, there was this original work by Silvio. It performed better than that method, and comparable to the state of the art at that time, which is Cioppa et al., if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And basically, our network is able to produce some neat probability versus event detection probability versus game time distributions. So basically what we did was we introduced a multi-receptive field architecture for detecting events in coarsely annotated data sets of different frequencies. And the results on the SoccerNet dataset, I would say, are better than hockey, because hockey is very convoluted and it's pretty fast-paced. So we still need to find like what we can do in order to compensate for that very fast pace of hockey. And future work would use player level features, hockey puck position, and yeah. Thank you.
So thank you, guys. And so next week we will have a final live session about concluding remarks and a few tips, and have a look at the leaderboard and see what people need to write as reports, give a few details, and having a Q&A session in case people have questions. Otherwise, well, that's it for today. So thank you very much and see you soon.